My name is Bill Center. I'm here representing the Measure Y Committee. As an original member of the Measure Y Committee, we are here to support your previous action, which was placing the Community Region and Rural Center Initiative on the ballot. We think that's appropriate. However, we request that you conduct a 30-day economic impact study or report of the initiative that purports to reinstate Measure Y's original intent. The main proponent of the Reinstate Measure Y's Original Intent initiative is Save Our County leader Sue Taylor. And Ms. Taylor added a very restrictive policy that was not included in the original 1998 Measure Y or its 2008 extension. And as a result, this initiative goes far beyond what the original Measure Y required or intended. Brief history: the original 1998 Measure Y and 2008 extension focused on two purposes. One, limit the approval of housing projects of 5 or more parcels or units if traffic from the project would result in level of service F and could not be mitigated. And two, require all types of new development to pay traffic impact fees to fully mitigate weekday peak hour traffic from their projects. As Supervisor Briggs indicated, there was an evolution of Measure Y in 2008 in which some changes were made. And real quickly, the public passed overwhelmingly Measure Y in 1998, in large part because there were over 30,000 parcels that were already created that were out there with no provision for paying for the roads that those parcels would require to carry their traffic, and that was the goal of Measure Y. 10 years later, a large number of those parcels had been built, and it was obvious that the general plan of El Dorado County was failing significantly in creating jobs to match the houses that were being built. We looked very carefully at some of the consequences that had come out of Measure Y, and there were changes that were made that would allow the board for an economic project to use a 4/5 vote, which they have never used. It would allow matching funds to be used from federal and state grants. And probably most significantly, it would allow a less restrictive definition of concurrency for the commercial projects. This initiative is unclear in several areas and has internal contradictions because it appears that it has patched together the original Measure Y, the 2008 Measure Y, the county general plan, and then added extra language. But I'm going to focus on our committee's significant major concern, and that is that the proposed TCXA-3 language seriously changes Measure Y's purposes. It reads as follows. We've tried to make it clear with the red and the blue, but the bottom line is that it currently reads, as it would go on the ballot and as it would become law if passed, all necessary road improvements shall be fully completed to prevent cumulative traffic impacts from new development from reaching level of service F during peak hours upon any highway, arterial roads, and their intersections during weekday peak hour periods in unincorporated areas of the county. And then the added language is before any form of discretionary approval can be given to a project. Now, there are two major consequences that flow from this. Number one, if a major developer came up with a classic project and said, we would like to build this project and we would like you to condition it upon us doing all the roads necessary for the project and we're happy to pay for it, just approve it now so we have some certainty, you couldn't do that. You could not approve it. You could say to the developer, build the roads, and then come back before us for approval. No developer is going to do that. What concerns me even more greatly, however, is that the language applies to all discretionary projects. A discretionary project is almost every project brought before the Board of Supervisors and or the Planning Commission. And this language prohibits approving any kind of discretionary project, no matter how big or small. I cannot assume intent. But, I don't know if I've used up 5 minutes, but I'm almost done. Okay. Either the intent is to stop virtually all development in El Dorado County, or an unintentional mistake was made. But discretionary variances are often needed to approve job centers, research parks, tourist recreation businesses, hotels, wineries, retail stores, even expanding existing businesses. The list is virtually endless. This language prohibits approving any discretionary project, no matter how big or small, until all road improvements have been fully completed to below level of service F, and Highway 50, as you're well aware, has already been determined by Caltrans to be at F, with very little likelihood that it can be improved. So it's not a simple reinstatement of the original Measure Y, because the original Measure Y placed limits only on residential housing projects, not job projects. It's unfortunate that this initiative has been submitted so late in the game. It's why we busted our buns and, yes, bought some signatures to make sure that we got in time for the board, if it decided to do a study, could do a study, and still be on the November 2014 election. Because we believe that it is critical that an economic study be conducted. We believe there are far too many serious economic impacts from this measure that need to be analyzed before voters are asked to make a decision. So when that decision is made, it is a fully informed decision. I thank you for your board's time and allowing me to go over time.